Okay, so this is a really exciting one for me. We have Jaycee Carroll in the house. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing very good.
Good
Thanks
to see
for
you.
having me. I'm excited to be down.
Thanks for coming. So you're headed to Spain next week. So we're getting this thing done before you bounce out. And Spain is really near and dear to your heart. So maybe let's start there. What does Spain mean to you, and how much time did you spend in Spain? Just give us that backdrop.
Yeah. Hey, for me, Spain means everything to me. I got to live my dream in Spain. I started out my career in Italy, and I spent 1 year there, and then I jumped over quickly to the Canary Islands. I spent 2 years in the Canary Islands thanks to Imar Ojeda, was the GM that brought me over. And then I had some very good games against some of the big boys over there, Real Madrid, Barcelona.
So you start off in Italy.
Yep.
Where in Italy were you?
A small town named Teramo, about 2 hours from Rome.
Okay.
Awesome experience. Loved Italy. Loved the food. Loved the country. The basketball was a different style that wasn't great for me. My oldest daughter Bella was born in Italy, we were 2 months out of the country.
Is that why the name?
That's
Bella?
why the name. Yep.
Okay.
That's why the name Bella. And so awesome experience. My first time my wife left the country, and she thinks about it all the time still. That's been 15, 16 years ago. Still thinks about it.
And I hear the weather in the Canary Islands is the most ideal weather on this planet. Is that true?
Yeah, it's unbelievably great. So I looked at my wife. I said, hey, I got offered playing in the Canary Islands, which I wanted to be in the Spanish league. I sat and watched. I was like, hey, the Spanish league, I love the basketball. The competition level is unbelievable. And that was my first opportunity to go. So I looked at my wife and said, hey, do you like sun? Do you like the beach? She said, yeah. So boom, we took off to the Canary Islands, signed a 2-year contract, and yeah, it was great.
What club was that?
Gran, what do they call it? Gran Canaria, Las Palmas de Gran Canaria.
And did they play against Real Madrid and all those?
Yep.
So same league?
Same league. The Spanish league. They also played in the Euro Cup at the time. So you have the Euro League and then the Euro Cup. So they're kind of the second division European competition. And I was fortunate that we got there. We had a new coach at the time. The new coach was great for shooting guards. Kind of gave me the ball and said,
And that's your position, shooting guard?
Yep, shooting guard. He said, go play. First game out, no one knew who I was. I scored 32 points, I think.
Wow.
And which is unbelievable. And then everything just kind of started to take off from there.
Cool. So you leave the Canary Islands. Now where do you go?
Yep, leave the Canary Islands, go to Madrid. And the reason, at the time in the Canary Islands, like I led the league in scoring my first 2 seasons there. So it was like, hey, this kid can score.
Not just the team, but the entire league.
The entire league. Yep, I was the leading scorer in the league. But I'm a 6'2" shooting guard. And so there were a lot of people kind of wondering, hey, can he play the EuroLeague level? EuroLeague is unbelievably high level of basketball. Great athleticism, great players. And it was like, hey, I don't know if he can play for Real Madrid. I don't know if he can play for Barcelona.
If you don't mind, and you probably hate this comparison, but just so that the viewers can understand. So when you want to, everybody knows NBA, right?
Yeah.
So EuroLeague, NBA, what would the comparison be?
Yeah, it's very similar. Honestly, we play preseason games against NBA teams. Oklahoma City Thunder, when they had Russell Westbrook, Victor Oladipo, Steven Adams, they came over and played us, and we beat them. It's a preseason game, so whatever.
That's why I asked the question, because I know it's a really, really elite league.
Like it is. That level is really good basketball. It's a great combination of actual, basketball strategy, team play, and then the athleticism skill levels there as well. A lot of former draft picks are over there. We played against number 1 draft picks. They're now in the EuroLeague. What's his name? Kemba Walker's playing the EuroLeague right now. He had a nice career with the Celtics.
Sure.
He's over there playing. So there's a bunch of dudes that are playing. Like, it's a tough league. And so they were looking at me kind of going, I don't think he can compete at this level. And then they have the Copa del Rey every year, which we don't know this outside our borders. It's one of the best basketball weekends in the world you could go to. It's the top 8 teams, mid-season tournament go, and you compete for the King's Cup. And we made it at Gran Canaria. We qualified. So we went, and first round was in Madrid against Madrid. And I was super nervous. Like I was nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a big, it's 16,000 people, downtown Madrid. And I was nervous. Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to make any points? Am I going to do anything good? And I came in, just got rolling, finished with 32.
How old were you at the time?
I was 25.
25.
Yep. So it was my third year playing professionally. I finished with 32 points. Against Real Madrid. And
is that where they...
Oh, yeah. And after that, that's where everything changed for me. It's like, okay, he can compete at this level. He can play at this level. And a couple months later, had an offer to play at Madrid.
Okay. So maybe let's elaborate on that. Everything changed in that one moment. So maybe talk to us about defining moments. What do defining moments mean to you? Not just in basketball, but just life in general.
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and I have that same curiosity with other people too. Like, was there a moment, or was it just things that kept moving? Defining moments. I'll go back to college. I had an interview with a leader one night, and he looked at me and he just asked me this question. He goes, "Hey, Jaycee, what do you want? Like, what do you want?" Basketball was going good. I was doing well. And oddly enough, we're talking about kind of my personal life and things like that. It's like, what do you want? And at that time, I went home, I thought about that question for a few days, and I realized that I wanted to get married. I was like, to a girl that I've been dating for a few years. We were broken up at the time, like we weren't together. And it was, hey, I want to get married I want to get married to Bailey, who's my wife now. And I grabbed her at college, after a class. I said, "Hey, can we talk for a second?" We talked. I go, "Hey, I think we should get married." She's like,
no way.
She's like, "Are you kidding me? Are you joking?" And I said, "No, I think that's what we need to do." And so she looks at me. She goes, "Okay, let's get married." And we got married like 2 months later. But
that's amazing.
The last half of that is, she goes, I go, "Let's go get some lunch." She goes, "Well, I got to go somewhere first." "Where you got to go?" She goes, "I got to go break up with my boyfriend." That's what she told me. So defining moment.
That's insane.
That was a defining moment for me. And then in basketball, yeah, that game was a defining moment. Because again, the King's Cup.
Wait, you just went over that so quickly. Hold on a second. Okay. So how long had she been? Sorry, but how long had she been dating her at the time boyfriend?
Yeah, it had been a few months, and honestly, so she and I dated off and on for our first 2 years of college. And it just never, like, she broke up with me at one point. I dumped her at one point. And we both had, like, I'd moved on. I was like, this is not happening.
Sure.
I put this in my rearview mirror and just moved forward. But
sure.
that question he asked me directly, and I just pondered on it for a few days, just really hit me. And so she, then I called my parents, like, "Hey, I'm engaged. We get married." And their question was, who?
like
who is it? Like, who is it? Because we had not been together for
sure.
5 or 6 months. And, greatest thing I've ever done.
That's awesome.
4 beautiful kids. She's followed me around the world as we've chased those dreams. And now together we're trying to start and build new dreams. And, very grateful for her to take that leap of faith.
So how soon after you had that meeting with your leader did you propose to her?
2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
And were you like, so what was the workup in those 2 days? Were you like, how do I do it? I'm going to do it.
No, that's it. It was honestly just matter of fact. It was, "Hey, Bailey," I just grabbed her after a class up on campus. I grabbed her up on, after a class on campus. I said, "Can we talk for a second?" And then that was it. That was the proposition. "Hey, I think we should get married. Do you want to marry me?" And she took about 25 seconds, and she goes, "Yeah, okay, let's get married." Later on, we did a little bit more elaborate proposal type thing, more of a date, more of a formal thing. But that was it. And after that, everything was full bore. Let's make this happen.
That's amazing. That's a really cool story. That's awesome. Okay, so great. So where did you do your college?
Utah State.
And how long were you at Utah State?
Spent 4 years there.
4 years there. Graduated from Utah State.
Graduated from Utah State.
And then that's when you go to Italy, then
Yep.
Canary, then Madrid.
Yep.
Okay, maybe explain the importance of the club, Real Madrid, because it's an iconic club. maybe explain the basketball world, the soccer world. Just explain that whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
And how you guys all kind of lived together.
Yeah, good. Now here's the thing: once you get to Real Madrid, it's fine. The way they talk, and it's like this: it's we are the best club in the world. We're the most important club in the world. We are iconic. People want to be here. Our people want to pay us for our name, and that's how everything is. If you do not win the final game of the season was a failure. And you know, we talked a little bit before about this David Beckham Netflix show that came out, and when he gets to the Madrid section of his career, he just makes a comment in there where he goes, you know, I was at Manchester United, and I was getting calls from people, and then Madrid called. And he goes, it's Madrid. I had to go. And so he went, and the rest of the history. But that's the way Madrid is. And I used to sit there at times. When I first got there, we had not won anything in 20 years. No European competitions in the basketball
on the basketball side.
Had not won any European competitions.
Was somebody winning them like consistently?
Yeah, Panathinaikos in Greece, Maccabi Tel Aviv in Israel. They were the teams that had been winning them. They'd won 4 or 5 in that 20-year span. And Madrid had 0. And so we'd go to like Greece, and they'd have up in the rafters Final Four appearances. And Madrid, and I made a comment, go, well, we've had a few Final Four appearances. Why aren't they up there? They go, because we don't care about those. We don't. If you don't win, we don't care. And so that was the mindset as we got there. And my first season, Barcelona was the giant, and we went to the King's Cup that we've already talked about. This was the next year after the Gran Canaria.
And just to understand, the King's Cup is only a weekend long?
It's only a weekend long.
And it's the top eight
teams
in the Spanish league.
In the Spanish league at that midpoint of the season.
So you could be ranked 8th.
Yep. And
take out the number 1 seed and hoist the cup.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
Yep. It is. It's really like our All-Star break type thing. And talk about All-Star weekend that just got done, but it's a really fun, it's super competitive.
Well, All-Star week, I don't know if we want to compare it to that.
No. But yeah.
Because I know how much Copa del Rey actually means to the club and to the fans. Like, it means a lot.
Oh, it does. It does.
Like, they're not chilling. They're going for it.
Oh, you're going for it. And the world's there. Like, all the international scouts are there looking for the next,
Now, do other divisions come in and play? Because I know in soccer, the third, second division can play.
Not in the King's Cup. This is strictly the top league competition, and and we just get to come play. And it's so competitive that any team has a chance to win, and it's a 4-day weekend of really high level basketball.
That's cool. And then how many players are on the roster at Madrid?
Yeah, so we would have between 15 and 17.
Okay. Sounds good. And then how many years were you at Madrid?
10 years.
10 years. And I'm assuming that was your highlight. That was like, this was my club. This is who I live and die for. And
that's how it became. Once I got there, I kind of looked around at other options. And in Europe, there were no moves up. Like I was at the top of the food chain. Going back home to the NBA, there'd be probably less playing time.
Did you ever consider going to the NBA?
Yeah, always considered it. But after my third or fourth year at Madrid, I just settled into, this is it. We're going to make a life. We're going to make a career here.
Okay. And then there's some notables that are part of that club, Luka being one of them. So at what age did Luka join Madrid?
Good. So when he was about 11, and here's the thing
young.
Yeah. So he came into the youth program, and I mean, I remember the day they introduced him to me.
How old were you?
I was in my first or second year at Madrid, so I was 25, 26.
And he was
11.
11 when you first met him?
Yeah, he was 11. And it kind of went like this. We were in the back hallway of the locker rooms, and the youth coach comes up and goes, hey, want you to meet Luka. And Luka's like, hey, this is Jaycee Carroll. And that time, Luka's like, hey, this is Jaycee Carroll. Like, I was the cool guy.
Sure.
And like, hey, we think Luka's going to be pretty good. And
what was your reaction? Like,
It was like, yeah, we'll see. He's like, hey, good to meet you. Hey, good luck. We'll be watching. And then from a distance, we just kind of kept watching progress, through the youth divisions, and he just was putting up crazy numbers, and he just was so smooth with the ball. And when he turned 15, he started to kind of practice with us. So all of a sudden we started to see him in the preseason.
Oh, wow.
And then he'd go with his team. Then we turned 16. It was like, okay, Luka's with us now. But the visual is this, right? This is where the coaches sit. This is the end of the bench. Luka was 16. He was the last guy on the bench playing garbage minutes. And then the next year, he's about mid-bench. And then when he turns 18, his third year with us, he's the MVP of Europe. Like, he's the best player in Europe, and gets drafted, and everyone can see how great he is now.
So did he leave at age 18?
Yeah.
And he went straight to the Mavs, right?
Yep.
Okay. And do you guys still stay in touch?
Yeah, he's been great about staying in touch, communicating. Anytime I reach out, he's quick to respond. We'll go when they play in Denver. We'll go watch the game. When they came up here and played the Jazz, we were at the game. We were at that game.
Yeah.
So it was.
Isn't it crazy? You met at age 11, and I think that also tells a story. Like, you just never know. Yeah. Like, you just never know, and you have to treat everybody with the utmost respect, and don't just see people as what they are currently, but as what they can be. Because think of all the missed opportunities if you don't treat every single human being with the potential that they truly do have.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And sometimes people they'll look at people, they'll look down or diminish them or think, you're not important now, and then you kind of look back, you go a little into the future, and that guy's someone important that you want to interact with. Like, I don't know why you'd ever undersell or not give someone the importance that they deserve. Luka's a good example of it. It could have been overlooked, and now you see what he is. He's doing an unbelievable job in basketball.
How old is he now?
He just had his birthday like yesterday or the day before, 25.
So he's young. He's young.
He's young.
Still got a long way to go.
Yes, he does.
That's cool. Okay, so now let's talk about El Bernabeu. So how does that? I've only driven past it.
Yeah.
I haven't even gone into the facilities. But how does that whole city work? Like, what's there? You have Is it mainly basketball and soccer, or are there other sports that the club is really good at, or is it just those two main sports?
Just those two sports. So you have the Bernabeu Stadium right downtown Madrid, which is iconic, legendary. I think,
and they just went under construction, right?
They just are kind of finishing up a billion, if not multi-billion-dollar renovation on it. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, the soccer field folds away underground. They have lights that grow the grass while it's underground, which means they can bring up different surfaces.
Crazy.
They're going to host an NFL game next year, I think. So they've just done this unbelievable renovation that has been going on for 5 or 6 years. I'm actually excited to see the completed project, because I've always
So did they keep the old stadium intact as they were building the new one, and then they're going to tear the other one down?
Yeah.
Or
So they built it over top of it. Like, it's right downtown Madrid. They can't build anywhere else. So it's the old stadium is still the stadium. They've just reformed it, reconstructed around it. And so a lot of those old bones will still be there with a very, very modern take on it. So that stadium's unbelievable. 80, 90,000 people can sit into it.
To compare that, I think the Jazz holds, 27,000 or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an unbelievably cool place to watch the best soccer in the world.
Okay, so you have El Bernabeu, the main stadium, and then how many soccer fields adjacent to it?
Yep. So then they have their training facility. The training facility is about 15-minute drive from the stadium. It's right by the airport. It's called Real Madrid Ciudad, Real Madrid Soccer City, or city, and it's their own. I don't know. It's like 30 or 40 acres. They have 11 soccer fields, and I love how they have it set up. So it starts at the bottom of the hill, and they have 2 soccer fields like this with a row of locker rooms and weight rooms that go up the middle. And then as you get better and get in the club's ecosystem, you get to move up the hill. So as you graduate from like this level, you move up the hill, and then you get to the culmination of a T, and that's where you have a residence for, like, we all had our own little like hotel suites that we would go there on game days, and we would eat and sleep and stuff.
Like family or just the players?
Just players. Just players only. And they had our cafeteria. And then
obviously that's all built by design, right?
All built by design.
It's like, if you want to be a part of this thing, this is how you graduate.
Yep, this is how you graduate. So you graduate up the hill, and then when you get to the first team, you move to the other side of the building, and they have 5 or 6 soccer fields just for the first team there. And so it's unbelievable. Then our basketball gym is right there on that other side of the tee as well. So we would get to interact with these guys and watch them practice, and we shared cafeterias and stuff with them.
Who was your favorite? Your favorite basketball companion, I guess, and your favorite soccer companion.
Good. My favorite basketball companion was Felipe Reyes. We were similar in age. We played 10 years together while we were there. He's a Spanish basketball legend. He played 20 plus years. A couple other guys were Sergi Yui and Rudy Fernandez. We played 10 years together.
And you played with a lot of Argentines too, right?
Yeah. Facundo Campasso, Gabriel Deck.
Is Campasso in the NBA now?
He's back at Madrid.
Is he back?
So he went to the Nuggets. Now he's back in Madrid, having a great year. Played with Nicola La Provitola. He's now at Barcelona, but he was at Madrid. And then Andres Nocioni. Loved.
And Nocioni played for the Spurs too, right?
Yeah, so he played 7 years for the Bulls, and then he got traded to the Kings. He did have a stint with the Spurs.
I thought he played with Ginobili, but I could be mistaken.
I think he did, but he loved talking about his Argentine teams. Ginobili, Luis Escola, and he Escola. Like he loved him. It was like his hero almost. But they call him Chapu over there. That's what he goes by. But I love playing with him. So much fire, so much passion. Like that dude was passionate. Campasso's the same way. Like they'll get after you and they don't care.
Yeah, I mean that's the great equalizer, right? And you mentioned you played in Puerto Rico too, and that's the equalizer there too. It's the passion that they have. Maybe elaborate a little bit on your Puerto Rico tour. You weren't there for very long, but you played a team or two there. Yeah,
so for preseason, we always would go outside the country. I mean, we went to Beijing and played. We played some games so that trip specifically, we went to Puerto Rico. We flew into the Dominican Republic, and we just were there in the airport. Got on a little puddle jumper.
Did you play in the DR?
We didn't play there. No,
it was just your
For
hub?
some reason, that was our flight path. I don't understand why.
I guess coming in from Spain, it makes sense.
And it might make sense. So we stopped there, and then I'm not joking when I say we were on a little plane. Like I was sitting next to the pilot, like in this little seat. We had like 8 seats behind us with teammates in it. And we landed in Puerto Rico, and we played. I wish I could remember the name of the team, but we played them. Awesome style of basketball, very up tempo, very offensive.
A lot of run and gun, I'm sure.
A lot of run and gun, which is like music to my ears. Like, let's just go put points on the board. Love the beaches, love the culture. We spent 3 or 4 days there, and it was a lot of fun.
Did you ever play against Carlos Arroyo?
Yeah, we played against Carlos Arroyo. He was in Turkey at the time. Getting down to his last few years, but that dude could still go. I mean, he was a handful even up into his last few seasons. Yeah,
I mean, he's our hero in 2004.
Oh yeah,
so
unbelievable success. Great player. Love playing against him.
Cool. Okay, so how does it work? So you play against Spain. You have the Spanish league, but the Euro League you're playing against Greece, Turkey,
Russia,
Israel. Russia.
Yep.
So like, and you already mentioned it. The dominant forces back then were Israel. There were a couple
of Greek teams.
Yeah. So maybe explain, because what's interesting is the NBA. You get the NBA,
yep.
And you know some fans are passionate about their city. They're passionate about their team, but more and more the NBA, in my opinion, is chasing players because there's so much, back and forth, so much trading happening. But when you have and my wife deals with this. She's from Argentina, from Rosario. And you can change religions, you can change spouses, you can change literally anything. You can't change your club.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So maybe talk about the religiosity of clubs, and not just Madrid, but when you're playing against a Greek club, or because it's pride of country and it's pride of club combined in one. So maybe talk about that level of fanfare.
Yeah, it's really different, especially when you get into the rivalries. Real Madrid, Barcelona, huge rivals, and the comment is always.
Did you guys have a Clásico, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we had with the Clásico. We always played right after Christmas. We were like kind of the Christmas Day game version over there in Europe, and yeah, the question that always was asked was, are we more happy when Madrid wins or when Barcelona loses?
There you go.
And that's kind of the way it is. And you have those same rivalries over there. You have a couple Greek teams, Panathinaikos and Olympiakos, which two brothers actually own the teams. And so that creates a whole nother sibling rivalry and who has the best club. And you don't change teams. You don't change who you cheer for. Like you are one or the other. And
and you marry the right way too, because if your significant other that you're dating is from an opposing club, probably not going to work out.
No, and it won't, because there's just too much conflict of interest there. So it is very much you are what you like. And it's like, hey, don't talk about politics, religion, or if you want to fight, talk about which team's better. It's all those same things. And it makes it fun, makes the atmosphere fun, makes the games fun. The European basketball scene is really lively and growing.
Okay, so let's go back. I don't know if you answered. Who did you enjoy on the soccer front?
Yeah, soccer front. Some of the people that are most fun to interact with were Sergio Ramos. I really respected the dude. I thought he did a great job on the field, off the field. He was very great with us, gracious. Luka Modric, we talked about. Same thing. He was a guy that he'd come over to basketball and want to try and shoot a little bit. I mean, it's funny when we would all get together for our Christmas club Christmas party. We are so much bigger than the soccer guys. Like even Cristiano Ronaldo, who is him and I are very similar in size, but walking around, it was just eye catching the difference in size.
Sure.
7 foot Eddie Tavares and 5 foot 3 or 4 Luka Modric. It was quite a scene.
That's cool. So would you guys support each other quite a bit? Would you go watch some of the soccer matches and they'd watch some of y'all's basketball games?
Yeah, some of the great things about the Madrid did for us was we had a team suite at Bernabeu Stadium. So anytime we were in town, we could all go there and watch the game. They'd come sit courtside at our games. They're usually. We had the end of our bench, then it L'd on the baseline, and they'd always sit right there on the baseline.
That's super cool.
So it was really good. We all felt part of the Real Madrid family.
And is that how most clubs are? Is it just mainly like Barcelona? Is it only basketball and soccer? Is that pretty typical?
Not always. Madrid, they've done really well at staying in their lane. They've said we're going to be basketball, we're going to be soccer.
Okay.
Barcelona, they also do like.
'Cause I think I've seen like handball.
They do handball. They do
maybe volleyball, if I'm not mistaken.
No volleyball at Barcelona, but I don't know what do they call it. It's like indoor hockey almost.
Almost like a field hockey type
yeah, like
thing.
a field hockey. They do that, and so they're a little more out into different things. But that's not really the norm. That's kind of unique to Barcelona.
Okay, and then going back, was it that Canary Islands game against Madrid where the magic happened? Mm-hmm. Is that where they said? So how did that process work? How did they reach out to you?
Yeah, so we so that game was played in like February, and had a great game.
Did you guys win that game?
We lost.
You lost?
Yep.
What was the score?
We lost by, I don't know the exact score. We lost by 8 points.
8 points.
So we were close.
But you scored 30.
Scored 32. I had a backdoor dunk. Like just everything that I needed to do, I did. And I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky that day, but everything went my way. My wife and I, we toured the Bernabeu Stadium on that trip. We said this would be a nice place to be. So
you're already manifesting.
We're already starting to think about it. Like, hey, this would be a great place to be. This would be a great place to be. And
did you call the scout and be like, hey, we need to talk. I need to come.
No,
and like you did with your engagement.
Yeah, So I do think I'm sure my agent was
working behind the scenes,
saying, hey, look what just happened, look at this. But about 3 weeks later, we went back to Madrid with Gran Canaria to play a different team in Madrid called Fuenlabrada, very small club in Madrid. And I get a phone call in the hotel that night. They go, hey, don't tell anyone where you're going. Can you get in a taxi and meet at this address. It's like, okay, well, all right, fine. So we have roommates at the time. He's like, where are you going? I'll be back in a minute. I didn't know what to say.
So
be back
awkward,
in a minute.
probably,
Yeah, so awkward. And we meet in this like basement of this restaurant.
It's probably worse when they tell you, don't tell anybody.
Yeah. So I meet with their GM in the bottom of the thing. They go, look, and it was a little like, we can't do this right now, but we want to do this right now. So they go, we want you to come to Madrid. We want to offer you a 3-year contract.
Just like that.
Just like that. And I was like, all right, this is amazing. Let's figure out the details. And
were you with your agent, or was it just you?
I was with my agent.
Okay.
He met us there in Madrid, and a week or two later, we signed some papers. And the story is that they sat in a locked vault until the official signing date could come forth.
Sure.
So they're doing everything they can to get a competitive advantage. And me being a young kid was just happy and fortunate to have the opportunity. That's
cool. So the GM, did he give you any clues or any indication? Like, was it the game that he saw, or what was the anchor, I guess? Yeah, the anchor was they have a as the director of basketball operations is a former kind of legendary Spanish player who was an outside shooter, a good player, and they've kind of been looking to find a guy like that. And I talk about that one moment, but I had played Madrid 3 other times before that game, and every time I just kind of had a good game. Was always close to 30 points. You always rose to the occasion. I always rose to the occasion in those ones, and we never beat them, though. I never beat Madrid. I beat every other team. I never beat Madrid. Sure. And they just started saying, we think you could be a piece that we've been missing. And that same summer, they signed a new coach that went back into that fast-paced, up-tempo style that fit me really well. And his name was Pablo Lasso, and he was coached me for 10 years, and we just got along. He understood me. His biggest thing was, look, I know Jaycee Carroll is going to come off and shoot shots that are terrible, but he's going to come off and make those shots too, and we value that. So he kind of gave us permission to make mistakes, to go out and be creative without being restricted by the box he wanted to put us in. He freed us all up to go play. Almost like a Steve Kerr type of arrangement, sounds like. Okay, so going back now, so you get to Madrid. When did you start? Meaning, when were you on the starting 5? Did it take a minute, or was it instant? It took a minute. It was, and that coach was very unique in the fact that I would play with the starting 5 all in practice, or the starting 4, and then we get to games and he'd have me come off the bench. Sure. I never understood. To this day, I still don't understand it. I don't. We had a conversation. He goes, "Look, JC, to me, it doesn't matter who starts." And you're like, "Well, to me, it does." Yeah, like to me, it does. Like, to me, it doesn't matter who starts. It's who finishes the game. Sure. And so I started looking back on the games when I was coming off the bench, and it was like, all right, who was in the game in the fourth quarter? Who was in the game in crunch time? Who were we trying to get the ball to make last-minute shots, second shots? And it was me, ultimately. And so I started to value that, and honestly, I became very comfortable coming off, late in the first quarter and playing. And we had kind of 2 ways we'd play. With the first 5, it was a lot of very heavy ball screen oriented stuff. Then I come in, we'd switch to a different style where I'm running off of screens, I'm creating movement for the whole team, and we actually scored more points with the second unit than the first unit. So I kind of had to embrace it. It was that the way it worked the majority of your career? That's the way it worked the majority of the time. Occasionally, all of a sudden I would start, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. But for the most part, I was kind of with the second unit, but the second unit was also the team that would finish the games. Interesting. And that was his philosophy, and I kind of bought into it and was comfortable with it. Okay. And then what kind of accolades did you guys win at Madrid throughout your 10 years? Yeah, throughout the 10 years, so we were able to win 2 year league championships. And that's a massive
That's
deal.
a massive thing.
So how would you compare that just for the viewers? Like, what does that represent?
Yep, it's the NBA Finals. It's the NCAA championship. You can't win anything bigger. Like, that's the biggest thing you can win. We won 2 in 10 years. We played.
Would it be almost like the Champions League in soccer?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly the way you put it. It's the Champions League. In 2018, when we won it, Luka was on that team. He was the MVP. Madrid also won the Champions League.
Crazy.
So you talk about just cool life experiences that you never expect to have. They sell tickets to the Bernabeu Stadium for the Champions League celebration. 90,000 people in there, big stage in the middle, and we are part of that celebration on the field with the soccer team. They're like, hey, and they announce all of us individually. Here's, Cristiano Ronaldo, whatever. He gets to walk out on the stage and come out, and 8 people later, and here's Jaycee Carroll. I get to walk out in the middle of Bernabeu Stadium and say hi to the 80,000 people, and then we have a foto de familia. Family photo of Madrid of us with our Champions League trophy, Madrid with their Champions League trophy, or the soccer team, and those are things that
how cool
never imagined would happen in my life.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just, again, it's the NBA is the NBA, but there's so many other cool opportunities out there.
There really are. So we were able to win two of those. We won 6 Kings Cups in my 10 years, which is great. Madrid had not won one in 19 years, so to win 6 in 10 is unreal. We won 6 Super Cups and I think 5 Spanish League titles.
So what's the Super Cup?
Super Cup it starts off every season. They take 4 teams, the 4 best teams from the previous year, and it kind of kicks off the season. Again, it's a Final Four weekend to start off. On level of importance, it's the least important, but is one of those things that they'll put up in the rafters, and when you're retired like me and old, you brag about.
So how long ago did you retire?
2 years.
Been 2 years. Has it been tough not having that hustle and bustle of always being on the road and competing every night?
Yeah, the competition thing is what I miss. I miss the basketball. I always loved the basketball. That never got old for me. I don't miss the travel so much. My kids, my family got into a stage in life that I wanted to be around more.
How old's your oldest now?
Oldest is 15.
15. She'll
be 16 this year. My youngest is 6. So we have 6 to 16. And the geography. We loved Europe. We loved being over there. Spent 13 years of our lives over there. But it got time too where it was like, all right, what's important to us? All right, my kids spending time with their grandparents are important. Me spending time with my parents before they get too old. There's stuff I love to do with my dad that
sure.
I was missing out on for all those years, and those things started to become more important than me being on the basketball court.
Could you have continuously lived in Spain? Did you like the country that much, or was it time to come back to the States?
No, we like the country enough. My oldest daughter, she loves it. She talks about it all the time, and so we could have continuously lived there. And honestly, Real Madrid probably would have been gracious enough to bring me into the club in a different capacity.
Sure.
And I could have made a whole life there. But ultimately, some of those family and things were a much stronger pull to bring us back home.
Makes sense. And okay, so let's see. So you retired 2 years ago. What are you doing now, career-wise?
Yeah, career-wise now, as I got ready to retire, I met up with some pretty cool people that are in the wealth management industry, and they started asking me what I'm going to do, and I saw an opportunity to not only start a second career with these guys, and but also I loved their vision. I really liked the emphasis they put on helping people. They had built wealth on their own, and they couldn't find all the solutions that they needed from one specific place. So we kind of went out and built it. We work in private markets, public markets. We have great real estate partners, and we're just able to kind of provide a more overall service for people that we work with. And honestly, the genesis was these were solutions we needed in our lives, and now we're just able to offer it to everyone else.
Cool. So next question would be the skills that you learned on and off the court. How have those transferred over to help you do really well at your current career?
Yeah, I think everything. The sports provides such a place, controlled environment to learn different things. One of them is just being able to work as a team. As a basketball player, you work as a team. You have to be able to cooperate, communicate your good feelings, your bad feelings in a positive way to be able to get the greater outcome for a team.
Did you have a lot of like these snobs that we see in the NBA today? Did you have to deal with a lot of that in Madrid? We
definitely had different personalities, but it does take a special kind of personality to be able to go over Europe, especially when you don't speak the language and things like that to be able to function. So we had high quality people.
It seems like the team culture almost doesn't allow for those personalities to.
And it really doesn't. As we started
be there for very long.
Yeah, as we started to get into success, people that didn't fit into our culture, they were just gone. And they're not even apologetic about it. It's like, you don't fit here.
That would have been my assumption. It seems like the culture's way more dialed in.
Yeah.
And way less tolerant for some of the behaviors we see today in the league. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. And, other things I learned, just work ethic, competitive nature. Everything we do is competitive. Even after basketball, you're always competing with something or somebody, whether it's yourself, your own goals, being able to overcome those and disappointments. I mean, I learned a lot of disappointments as a guy in Chile, but of just being rejected. I think it's really hard for people to put themselves out there.
So what happened in Chile?
Well, I was a missionary in Chile. So I got rejected a lot.
Sure.
Getting rejected and not just giving up or failing. Before we won our first EuroLeague, we lost in the previous two finals. And just resetting your mindset and picking yourself back up and saying, okay, we can still do this. And not just getting so discouraged that we don't try. Like, sports taught me all those things. Because as I get into this new industry, I work hard. I'm fairly smart. I have good options for people, but I still kind of get looked at as a basketball player. Like, you're a basketball player. How can you help me here? And so there's rejection that I have to work through to. Do
you think that's more, though, a limiting self-belief? Or do you really think that that's how people perceive you? Because I wouldn't perceive you as such.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. And maybe it is something that's a little more built up in my mind than the way other people see me. But I do work through that. And
because for me, listen, the level of sophistication, of grit, of grind, of tenacity, of competitiveness, of everything that you had to do as a professional basketball player, like this current career that you're in should be pretty chill.
Yeah,
because you were competing at the highest of highest levels, and now it's just yeah. So anyway, I'm excited for you.
No, well, I appreciate that, and honestly, that's why I like to listen, because you have some great insights like that, some good thoughts, and since we met a little while ago, it's been fun to listen and to not only your podcast but some of your events that you do, because I do really value some of your insights you have on these types of mindset stuff you do. I love to live life by design.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And that's why you're on the show, because you're definitely living your life by design. So what are some of so if somebody was to be one of your clients, what are some of the guiding principles that you live by? Because I can tell you're super passionate about it in previous conversations that we've had. And maybe talk about the name of your company and why it's named the way in which it's named.
Yeah, so we really work on a couple pillars. Patience, discipline are some of them. As people start to invest with us and work with us, they need to understand those things.
So I love the Jim Rohn quote: "The twin killers of success are impatience and greed."
Okay.
Yeah,
very good. And their name is 3 Seasons. 3 Seasons Wealth. And
so why 3 and not 4?
Good. And I'll ask. I talked to Troy about this, like, why 3 or 4, and he has a couple answers. One is it creates a conversation. Like, we know 4 seasons. What's the season you don't like?
Sure.
Well, we don't like winter, but that's a different thing. But there's accumulation is one season. And then there's the season that we start working with people when they've accumulated it, and then they need to preserve it and grow it. So accumulation, growth, and then at the end, the third season that we like to talk about is passing it on, being a good steward of it, passing on next generation, generational wealth, and how do you move that forward. We ask people, we say, hey, we'll work really hard with you to grow your wealth, to make money, and then we'll also ask you to give some back, whether it's a charity or whatever your organizations are. We want to make sure that that's something that's on your radar.
And then out of all the other things you could have chosen to do, why did you choose wealth management?
I've seen the freedom that it can create in my life. I've seen how we can, I saw the good and the peace of mind that we could give people as they started to feel comfortable in their finances and where their money is working. And ultimately that became something that was really important to me. It's like I was given a gift. I was able to live my dream, and there were some assets that were accumulated through that. It's created this peace of mind that I want to be able to offer to other people. So it became valuable to me to help this. And it's amazing the range of people I get to work with, from ranchers that are very land rich to new entrepreneurs to, young, I won't call them dumb, young, newly minted
new money
athletes and stuff like that have maybe a shorter mindset of money and not as much patience or discipline as where those funds go. And it's been fun to kind of mentor them through that journey.
Have you been able to service any of your former teammates, help them out with their nest egg, their portfolios?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I sat in these locker rooms for so many years that I heard all the horror stories. I talked to them about, hey, my friend, I hear my friend's got this investment idea and it's going to be great. And so I sat through all those locker rooms for all those years, and I said to myself, if I ever get to a point that I can help these young people, that's what I want to do. And it also helps me stay connected to the game I love. So you mentioned I'm going to Madrid. Big part of the trip is that, to work with some of these people.
That's super cool. That's awesome. What kind of advisory do these players have? Do they have some, does Madrid provide something for them so that they can make sure that they're taking care of their bounty, or not really?
No, they don't. The Spanish Players Association, the Yearly Players Association, doesn't have any of this set up to be able to provide to players. Players are really on their own to try and find their solutions. And some do a good job of it, but some don't. I found that a lot of these players, they either have people they trust, they have no expertise, or they have people with expertise that they can't trust, or they have no one in their lives they can actually trust with these things. So I've come in to try and fill that gap, so they've been in the trenches with me. They've seen what I've done with my life, and be like, hey, we'd like to offer this to you as well. So yeah, we're gonna go meet with the players associations and try to push that a little bit more with my European counterparts.
What are some of the biggest financial mistakes that you see that people make? And I mean, you've been in it. You've made great money throughout your career. A lot of your teammates have made great money. What are some of the things that make you roll your eyes and be like, oh my gosh, why is this guy doing that?
I have to be careful here because look, even me as a young player, I jumped into some things that were shiny,
sure,
and fun. I mean, I owned a restaurant for a while and some different investments, and I got into some investments that I, quite honestly, as a kid, I didn't go down the path of researching well enough.
Now, when you say the restaurant, I'm assuming it wasn't a cash cow?
It wasn't a cash cow.
Okay.
No, it was a great restaurant. We had a great product. Luckily, we bought the real estate with it, so we came out okay. But the managing of the restaurant and actually...
I actually had a buddy text me 2 or 3 days ago. He lives in St. George. He's like, Mendez, can you give me some feedback on F&B, food and beverage? I'm like, yeah, don't do it. and I own restaurants. I own some fast casual concepts. Mm-hmm. But it's a tough business because you're competing against not just the cuisine that you cook,
Mm-hmm.
So if you cook Mexican or Chinese or whatever, Korean, you're not just competing against that cuisine. You're competing against every other food outlet out there.
Yeah.
So it's just, and the barriers of entry are so low that it's such a tough business. So
it really is.
Okay, so you bought a restaurant. What other shiny objects do you want to admit to?
Shiny objects. I bought into an oil deal in 2011. It was, hey, you're gonna 10x your money in 6 months, and we're sitting here.
Did you 10x it?
No. I did receive a check. So it's not. I might 10x. Like, we'll see.
You're still hoping?
I'm still, fingers crossed, but I did receive a check for like $6,000 last month from it.
Sounds promising.
Sounds promising. So I still haven't recouped my original investment, but those were shiny objects.
But listen, you have to go through those moments so you can actually teach folks about those things. It's just part of the process.
You do, and I think that those experiences and other ones along the way, like some were great successes, others weren't, but those ultimately let me speak of a place, come from a place of more of authority with with some of these young kids. Say, look, I did this thing you're looking at. I know the challenges, I know the difficulties. It's an idea, but I think there's a better idea. Let's find that better solution.
And listen, I mean, you talked about a restaurant that you purchased. You talked about an oil and gas deal that you put money into. At least you're not telling me that you bought like a Lamborghini or Ferrari or these massive liabilities. You know what I mean? So,
and that's it.
You're putting your money out there to work for you.
And I was trying, right? And I was trying to do good things, but I did lack partners that were strategically in places or experts in the fields I want to go into. And I'm trying to provide that with not only our 3 Seasons wealth, but our ecosystem of great partners that we have around us to be able to provide access to these people we work with to get into these good deals that I didn't have access to. I didn't know the people. I didn't know the right people. So I tried to do it on my own. And I was an expert at basketball at the time. There were experts in real estate that I would have loved to have leaned on. There were experts in the restaurant business that would have been great that I didn't know at the time.
Well, what's cool now is you're in that world, so you know what a good deal is and what a not a good deal is.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time too. There's no such thing as a good investment, only good investors.
Yeah.
So it's understanding when to enter, when to exit, how long to hold, not hold. Do you harvest the cash flow? Do you exit at a certain point in time, et cetera? So the business that you're in now, you're essentially part of a Real Madrid because you're with a really powerful, awesome firm and really intelligent people around you. And it's not intelligent people that can, they don't try to impose their intellect on others. They're willing to receive information from other folks. They don't have that ego in the way because I know your people.
Yeah.
So what's cool is now you can actually truly help people because you're playing in an elite program.
Yep.
And you can provide elite partners.
And you said that perfectly. I don't lean on me being that guy and these people that I've been interacting with. They don't have egos. Best idea wins. Best solution wins. We'll sit around the table. We'll talk about the opportunities we have to place capital and things like that. And the best solutions wins wherever they're at. Our singular goal is not, this is my thing. It's what's the best for all of us. And so you're right. You've interacted and we've interacted a little bit. And I think you said it much better than I have. They are good people that are free of ego and just want to find the best solution. You also asked, what are some of the things that I see people fall into in the locker room or whatever. Or
even now in the last couple of years that you've been working with folks.
It is. And it's, you talk about the shiny things, the cars and that. Those weren't big interests of me. My dream car was a 65 Mustang convertible. The price tag isn't huge on those, but that was my dream car. But those types of liabilities. But one of the things that I saw erode wealth more than anything was young people trying to they were trying to make good investments, but they lacked the expertise and the skill to execute properly. So the execution was poor. They had more money than they needed, and the execution was bad. So, I think Curt Schilling's a good example in the professional baseball world. He sank right around $100 million into a video game company that, in his mind, this was going to be our future. He was trying hard to create something great, and ultimately it failed, and he lost all his career earnings in that. And I try to help kids and people avoid those mistakes.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of lifestyle inflation where let's say you're making 100K, now you're making 200K, but now you live on the 2 instead of the 1,
Yep.
and you don't invest the excess?
100%. 100%. I see that all the time. I hate the saying keeping up with the Joneses. I don't really love that, but it is. The more income, there's people find a way to spend it. I remember when I first went overseas, I was like, if I could make $100,000 a year playing basketball, I'll be set for life. Like, I'll be the happiest guy in the world. And I watched my own lifestyle go from, hey, I'm in a $135,000 townhome to, well, a couple of years later, it's like, all right, now we're in a 4-bedroom house outside of town a little bit. So I saw it in my own life,
Sure.
But at the time as well, just simple dumb principles I kept was like, all right, every month it was, I've got this much money I need to live on, and the rest is going to go into my investment portfolios. And I was very disciplined on that. Every time I signed a new 3-year contract, I lined out the next 3 years of where those funds would go. And I was really disciplined with that.
Were you able to get to a point where the excess was all investments, or did you still take a little bit of the increase to live a higher lifestyle, if you will? Just curious.
Yeah. I got to that point, but then I did keep, so like we'd get bonuses for winning these things, and those bonuses would go to things that were fun.
Sure. No, I mean, listen, you have to enjoy those moments. There is definitely a science and an art to enjoying your bounty that you have now, and not just living, a purist, boring life.
Yeah.
But it's just making sure that you set enough aside so that your dollars are creating freedom fighters for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that became the focus. The bonuses, it was like, all right, and we tried to be intentional with them. What will this bonus do for us? Are we going to go make a family memories, family experiences? So like we went to Florida one year and invited my whole extended family. Like, that was something we did. It was fun, something we still remember.
And you'll never regret that. I guarantee you'll never say, man, I wish we had done that Florida trip.
Yeah. So some things like that we tried to do with bonuses that we'd get for winning stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, for me, the real wealth and new wealth is experiences, mobility, and time.
Yep.
Like, you'll never regret like investing in those 3 different verticals. Okay, so let's wrap this thing up. So as we're finishing this show, what are maybe just 1 or 2 guiding principles of how you want to leave us? Just, and with everything that you've learned, the name of the show is Living Life by Design.
Yeah.
What are some things that you can send us off with?
Good. I've been thinking a lot along these lines, and I do spend time with a basketball team. I coach a basketball team as well. My daughter's on it, and we spent some time this year with them, trying to get them to think about living life intentionally, making intentional decisions to have life experiences. And so, number 1, I think you need to look at your time, which is finite, which is fleeting, and you can't ever get it back. And what things do you want to do with that? And you've actually had the one guest on, Jesse, and I like his big A calendar. Like, I like some of those ideas that he has. So, set some goals with your life, weekly goals, daily goals, yearly goals, and then be disciplined chasing them. If I had to really simplify it, set some goals and then be disciplined in doing it. I look back on my life and how I was able to get to a professional basketball level and get proficient at shooting the basketball. And every Sunday night, I would sit down on my laptop and I would plan out that week what I was going to do in basketball, how many shots I was going to shoot a day, what shots I was going to shoot that day, and then I'd record keep them. I'd pin my paper on the wall behind the basket. I'd shoot the 25 shots. I'd mark how many I made, and I did that every year for so many years, but that discipline and that goal setting went into every other aspect of my life, my business life, my personal life, and my, as a dad, as a husband. How can I live this, make my life intentional? How can I make decisions of where I spend my time, so my time wasn't just taken from me from everyone else?
Yeah, that way you're owning it and it's not owning you.
Yeah.
You tell it what needs to happen. And like you said, where performance is measured, performance is increased. If you want to win, you have to keep score. So it sounds like keeping score of your basketball career and how you're shooting and all that stuff really elevated your game.
Absolutely.
So that's beautiful. Okay. It's been a phenomenal episode. Tons of takeaways. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here, brother.
Hey, thank you.
And I wish you the utmost success as a coach and also in your new career. I'm excited for you. And you tear it up in Spain when you get out there.
Hey, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.